So, okay, TrekMovie.com tweets out Rick Berman and Brandon Braga are not fans of contemporary language in modern Star Trek shows.
Ah,
I see. You know,
uh-huh.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not that unpopular of an opinion,
No,
truth be
it's
told.
not. We've
Some
Because,
it
talked
is.
about this before.
Mm.
yes, I myself, and
Hmm.
maybe others, every time I hear colloquialisms, slang, words and terms from the current days.
Mm-hmm.
When I hear that in Star Trek, I get taken out of it
Hmm.
Yep.
because I
Absolutely.
immediately my nerd brain immediately says that doesn't work, that doesn't fit, that's wrong. That's like if Spock came out with his ears pointing downwards, we'd be like, nope, that's not how Star Trek works. Nope, sorry,
Hmm.
like that. But when they say, like when they're like 1,000 years into the future, like Discovery, for
Exactly.
example, and they go, "You got this." They're not going to
Or
say you got the language evolves. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
I
you
exactly.
wouldn't
guarantee, no
hear them
way.
say, I feel seen.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
Come
exactly.
on.
I
no.
see
Really?
I
you.
mean, there's
Really?
little
You,
things that have slipped through the cracks all along, I would say. I would argue.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like even
Yes.
even in the original series, there are moments, there are,
Sure, but
Yeah.
even in the
little
original
sprinkles.
series,
Mm.
they did try and make sure that the language kind of was different from
Oh, for sure.
for the future. For example, now I'm blanking on that. When the one that reminds me of Guys and Dolls, where they went back
Piece of
in
the
time.
action.
Yeah.
Yes, piece of the action. The language was very different for the people on the planet
Right.
from way back when than for the people on the Enterprise who were on the Enterprise. Same
Mhm.
with Deep Space Nine, with between Vic Fontaine and the rest of the crew
Right.
on Deep Space Nine. There was a language shift, and there should have been a language shift. Miles O'Brien shouldn't know what a square is, you know,
Hmm.
aside from it being four sides of a cube, you
Right.
know.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
It's really an
Exactly.
interesting though. Like, how do you do like there's certain new scientific theories that
Hmm.
have new words assigned to them,
Yeah.
right? So you would you would have to talk about a new like I don't know quantum entanglement or whatever. Like as
Yeah.
soon you'd have to have that in Star Trek, and it's kind of a modern thing. You know what I mean? Something
Mm.
discovered now wasn't discovered in the 60s or 70s or 80s or whatever, but it's a major scientific theory now. You'd
Yeah.
have to have that in your episodes of Star Trek, couldn't
Hmm.
you?
Right.
So
Which
language
is
is kind of a
cool.
weird thing, right? Are you just
hmm
Yeah.
talking about colloquialisms?
Yes, yes,
Like,
colloquialism. So like, yeah, you're not going to have somebody on the bridge of the Enterprise saying that's rad.
but you
Right.
might have
You know,
somebody on the Enterprise say cool, because I mean, how long has cool been around,
Mm.
cool's been around for a while. Yeah.
50
Uh,
years.
but
right?
it's like,
More than
yeah,
that.
I mean, I think of it in a way of like,
75.
I mean, language, well, okay, let's be honest. I mean, it's the English language because that's what Star Trek
Just,
originated in, right?
just
Right.
awful.
I I look at Star Trek, from the original series to the Next Generation through, clear up through Enterprise,
Hmm.
and yes, it doesn't take place in our current timeline, right? And
Hmm.
so there's a way to write these episodes and that these characters, the words that they're using and the phrases that they use avoid things that tag them to present day. And there's been a lot of stuff in later, especially Strange New Worlds, that when I hear it, I'm like, well, that's like somebody out on the street talking right now. And like
Right.
Ryan said, it's kind of takes me out of it because it's like
Hmm.
in a way, it's kind of like classic speak. It's why does Shakespeare endure? because
Mm.
we don't go in and try. I mean, yes, we have quote unquote modern takes on Shakespeare, right?
Yeah.
As we tell these things, but like we're not like, we're not, when we read Shakespeare, when somebody performs Shakespeare, they're not trying to modernize the to for audiences to understand in today's languages. It's a study in the beauty of what was written beforehand. And I kind of like, I'm not trying to sound old man, get off my
No, that actually makes
Yeah.
great
Mhm.
sense because that's true. Look at how you need to take classes basically to understand what the hell you're reading in
Ah,
Shakespeare, which was just a
but
few hundred years ago. So a
if
few hundred years from now, and remember, language is evolving at a rate that's also increasing. So if it
Right.
evolved, what it had evolved in 200 years time now would evolve in 20 or 30 years.
mm,
And evolution is speeding
Yeah.
up as far as language is going. So imagine how much it will change in just 100 years if that's how much it changed in 500
Because
years.
it's also evolving with technology
yeah,
and
sure.
the technology of the future, whatever that might be. The language of that time of 300 years in the future is going to fit that more than, rad.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
still say rad though.
Yeah, me too.
I know,
Yeah.
but
No, but
that's
I'm
for
with you on
now
this though.
times.
Yeah. I mean, it's
But
actually
how-
kind of interesting because it makes more sense for there to be changes in language between the original series and Next Generation and everything after Next Generation than it does to have changes in language between like TOS and Strange New Worlds or Discovery because they're all kind of in the same
Right.
Sure.
era.
yeah,
Right.
I would agree that it's a directing and writing problem, right? Like
Mhm.
somebody
Yeah.
actually writes that down and gets the actors or actresses to
Yeah.
say it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there is a
Exactly.
process to get that rad from non-existence to existence on paper to the episode. So I would
Mhm.
go, but like you said, your argument about language. I mean, then if we're arguing about how languages evolve, then Star Trek would have just as incomprehensible of a language as
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
so you wouldn't
That's
get
right.
it. You
Yeah.
wouldn't
True.
understand
Right.
it. So there has to be some sort of mainstay language, as in
Sure.
modern language, meaning to 2025 right now.
Yeah.
No, you're
In
absolutely right. It's just kind of like when we visit alien planets in any movie ever, even Star Trek. Star Trek actually came up with something in universe, but otherwise they're just all talking English, Aliens fly down,
Yeah.
they talk English, and you're
Right.
right. So we do that to simplify things, and that's totally
Yeah.
accurate because if
It's
we really were going to 2400, yeah, it would feel like Shakespeare in that we would understand some of it, but it would feel weird. The pronunciation of words that we recognize would feel
Mhm.
weird. But that
it'd
being
be like
said,
rad.
yeah. But that being said, slang and colloquialisms change every 10 years, basically,
Mhm.
whereas the word book is
Right.
probably not
Right.
going to change much.
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're still constant. But anyway, yeah, point taken. It's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
right.
But
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
essentially like we're hearing Star Trek through a universal translator so
Yeah.
that everyone can understand it. But the universal translator isn't going to pick up slangs and
Right.
colloquialisms of 2025 because what's the point? I
Mhm.
Right.
mean, it doesn't get the message across. But, book does, rad doesn't,
Right.
right.
know?
Or bussin'. Oh, that's bussin'. No cap. Bet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
That
it's just
gave me a headache just now.
just the stuff that, if you have
Just
teenage kids
neighbors.
around you, you hear that kind of stuff and it's like,
Yeah.
what does that
Yeah.
even mean? Like, and
67. But
right.
that's not
Oh
gonna
my
be a
gosh.
thing.
Well, and the other thing too that they as someone pointed out, like people are like they don't like the cursing in Star Trek, right? And I'm like, and
Mhm.
I understand that to a degree.
Mhm.
I don't like the F bombs in Star Trek. Now, I will say that of all the curses out there, the F word is my favorite one. And it makes me laugh every single time. Okay. It is my favorite one. And I
They say it
maybe
with
use
so
it
many
on more
different intonations, really.
more
Yeah, yeah,
and
it's true.
more situations than maybe I should readily admit. But I don't like it in Star Trek. And the reason I don't like it in Star Trek is because never in the what they've used it twice now. They used it once, or they used once or twice in Discovery, and then once in Picard. And every time it feels forced and it does not
Mm.
feel earned. Even
Mm.
Picard saying it did not feel earned, because we've gone however many years with Picard never saying that language. And
But
I
so
feel like-
much has happened to him since we
I
first
get it,
met
but
him. You
but
you know I'm on the other side of this, yeah. So
well,
like,
Are you
to
really?
me,
yeah, yeah.
to me
So
that was like, ugh.
so if we had 50 years of Star Trek basically not using slang, right?
Oh yeah,
And then
now
suddenly now it is.
I don't mean
It doesn't.
necessarily. I like I'm talking about the swearing as opposed
Yeah, the swearing's kind of fun.
Oh.
I'm flexible on
Me too.
the
Right.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat flexible on the colloquialisms. It honestly kind of depends on which one it is to me. Some of them just kind of work and have had and are in there, and it's in the same way that we're looking at technology that is more modern to us, like the visuals are more modern, so the language is a little more modern to
Mhm.
us because of, I mean it's a show that is being directed at a specific audience in a specific time. So I feel like there's gonna be some of that just sort of is gonna happen naturally, but I do agree that there are some that are a little bit like feel a little ham-fisted,
Well, it's like the first time we heard it in Discovery, I watched that and I was like, ugh, really? And the whole time, like as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, I can just see the writers sitting over there in the writers' room going, we made her swear. We dropped that. We dropped the F-bomb in Star Trek for the first time. We're so funny. And
but
it
like
wasn't earned.
like I love the Picard F-bomb. That was like, yeah, I was
Well,
all over
see,
that.
I think it worked with Picard, but not, but only because it was Picard. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but older people can get away with more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
okay. The sheer effing hubris line in the first season of
Oh
Picard.
yeah, I forgot about that one. That was great. That was great.
That was great. That
Yeah.
was earned at every, whatever how you want to look at that. I mean, she could have said the sheer hubris of it, but the fact that she just said the sheer effing
Yeah.
hubris of the moment,
Oh my
in
God.
that
Yeah.
moment,
See?
that
Yeah, there you
worked. But like, I just kind of felt like the way that Picard was talking in that moment, he was just talking about how this was just a long time, right? We were in this for however many grueling moments, but then he dropped that, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, but he
I
was
don't
like
remember
he
the
was
Picard.
reliving it.
I don't remember Picard
I-
saying fuck. I remember the
I don't
sheer
know, it
fucking
just-
hubris,
He was-
and
he-
everybody
'cause
loved themselves.
He was
about
telling the story to Jack about him and Jack Crusher being trapped in the shuttlecraft, and just the sort of
It's
what they had to do to
that.
get back.
Picard
I don't
said
know.
it's been so fucking long, or something like that.
Like,
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
I don't even remember it.
effing grueling. I
I
don't know.
know
It just felt,
he just did it. He just said it.
it
He
just
said
felt
the
like somebody
thing.
peed.
Nothing
It
more
felt like
YouTube
somebody
could-
peed in the pool at that moment to me.
well, I mean, I look at it like this. If Julie Andrews swears like a sailor, I don't see anything wrong with Picard swearing like a sailor too,
Yeah.
especially at that age.
Yeah. And at that moment when he's really trying to, he's telling a story, he's trying to connect with this kid he just met, who's, hey, he's my kid. Spoiler alert.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if
Yeah,
you haven't seen
didn't bother-
Picard at this point, then
Didn't
Yeah.
bother me. However, we had a poll in the live chat. The question is, your thoughts on modern speech, slang, colloquialisms in Star Trek. 27% said it's fun. 73% said no thanks.
Really?
Well, and
Yeah.
also,
There you go. Okay.
I mean, you're having aliens that you're meeting for the very first time, that we are seeing for the very first time, talking like a human earthling from 2025. That's not
That's
cool
different.
because that takes me out. It just
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting
where's
because
we're
Mhm.
supposed to be immersed into this strange new world. And I didn't say that's where that came from. It's not. But we're supposed to be immersed into this strange new world. And how is this immersion supposed to actually happen if you're acting like we're here now? I'm a human American
In Toronto.
in
Yeah.
in Toronto.
Filming in Toronto.
They
Sorry, you
say
were saying Terrace?
Toronto.
Yeah, sorry.
Huh?
You guys say Toronto, right?
Toronto,
Mhm. Yeah.
Toronto. Yeah.
Sorry, you
What
were
were you
saying
saying,
Terrace?
Terrace?
Oh no, I was just I think I really like the universal translator discussion that was had because
Mm.
Mhm.
I think that if you had it, wouldn't it be temporal? Meaning that if you're using the translator, it would translate things to you temporally also because then rad would be there. I mean, cool and the F-bomb also, I think those are pretty much instilled into the English language that will never get out.
Mhm.
Like I can't see those disappearing
Yeah.
just because
Sure.
they've been around for so long. But
Hmm.
but I mean, definitely I had a lot of slurs and a lot of uh contemporary stuff in the 80s and the 90s. So
Yeah.
those are going to be there that are kind of disappeared. I
Yeah, for
still
sure.
I still
Well,
use
and
bitching every once in a
Oh my
while.
God. I
yeah,
still say wicked
yeah.
every once in a while.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
you
exactly.
yeah.
know,
So like,
wicked.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
you know,
But and
Well,
and so
over in the chat, uh, you know, there's two things. Chris Marshall brought up where it's like, well, it made it more real for me. That's the
Hmm.
point. It made it more real for you here in the 2020s, right?
Right.
And the other thing which Richard Bob brought up is we talked about language in Star Trek 4 when Kirk is all of a sudden he's like, well, double dumbass on you, which he completely is not using the language very much. And he and
Mm.
Spock have
that
a
actually is a good
conversation about
idea.
it. And he says, your captain, your language has oldened, and Kirk says,
mm,
well, people of this century don't understand you unless you curse every other word,
Hmm.
right? And so I don't think that cursing is going to disappear. I have no problem with cursing.
Yeah.
That's not the point. That's not where I'm like it's grating me because it's the way that they're choosing to use it. Because okay, before I came out to LA, I worked at a credit union and everybody that worked there, I know that they cursed. But we
Yeah.
didn't curse when we were at work because there was
Right.
a level of professionalism that we maintained when we were around each other. Now, if but when people went home to their homes and were hanging out with their friends, sure, whatever. You want to drop an F-bomb, you want to talk a certain way, that's fine. I moved out to LA and I suddenly worked with a group of people where the F word was every other word. And
Mm.
and it took on its own life and like moved in next door to me. Um and so that's my thing is it's like by the
Mm.
time we get here, the point is that humanity has evolved to a certain point, and I would think that as part of that evolution is that ability to speak with each other on a professional level when we're in a professional setting,
Without
and
aggression.
to not have to
Mm.
use certain types of
mm,
language. I'm not saying
Mm.
it's bad. I'm not saying it doesn't have a time and a place, but it's like I said, I just feel like it needs to be earned. Like one of my favorite things, and while I don't necessarily think that damn is damn and hell are not exactly those are like you threw some mild salsa into your language there, but I just from
I
from Rocks
Where's
and
the ghost
Shoals.
pepper?
Yeah, exactly. From Rocks and Shoals, one of my favorite moments is between Nog and O'Brien, where he says, "Reroute the damn geodyne through the damn thruster array." And Nog's got it. And they go on, and O'Brien says, "Nog, did you reroute the damn geodyne?" And Nog says, "I tried, but the damn thruster array won't take the input. Try the lateral impulse thrusters and watch your mouth." It's like that kind of stuff. That's funny because it's earned, right? I don't know. Anyway,
Right.
I'll
it's
get off
interesting.
my soapbox here.
It, It doesn't bring me out of
Yeah.
Star Trek. It doesn't bring me out. So my opinion isn't transformative because it doesn't allow me to it doesn't force me out of the narrative.
Yeah.
But I could see how it could. So
Mhm.
I don't know what my opinion would be, but the writers definitely write it.
Yeah,
So
I don't
they
mind the
can not write it.
selective use of it in a you
They
know.
can definitely not write it.
Keyword.
Like they can
Yeah.
just say, well, there's a
Yeah.
colloquialism instead.
Well-
Let's use this. So
Yeah, I mean it's right up there. It's like when they
decision making.
in this last season of Strange New Worlds, they started playing more contemporary songs of today with
Mm.
it, and that took me out of it, because
That's also
and
a
that's
thing, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like I'm sorry, but I don't know. I was like, oh, suddenly I'm
Yeah,
not. I
I
don't
think
feel like I'm watching Star Trek anymore. I might as well
No.
be watching NCIS or
Mhm.
Sure.
CSI or
Now,
some other
you
serial
know when
on
that hit me the
CBS.
most the first time was actually in Star Trek Beyond Burger. When they were playing the Beastie Boys and he's riding a motorcycle around in a circle, I was like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't. I'm not. It just, I understand why they did it. It was fun. It was exciting. It was a great scene. And you could tell that they kind of built the script
Mhm.
around that because that's not like a natural thing that happens. Uh, but it was fun. It was cool. I understand that they were trying to bring in a new audience, but I was just like, this just, it just
Yeah.
didn't do it for me. Now, of course, sometimes it works well.
First Contact.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, First Contact's a great example. I was going to say Guardians of the Galaxy
Yeah.
because it's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's addressed. It is,
Mhm.
hey, I've got this old cassette tape, my mama, and plus it takes place back then,
Yeah.
Sure.
but it's still like 20 or 30 or 40-year-old songs, but it works because that's on purpose. Same thing within First Contact.
Mhm.
They're going back to 2063.
Yeah.
And even
Right.
then, that's way in the future. But of course, the character is like, hey, I found some old stuff. I got my old
Yeah.
music. Check it out. You'll love it.
Well,
It's
it may-
100
yeah.
years
Mhm.
old.
That makes sense
It's a
too because I mean, if you think about like, the war happened and there isn't going to be a lot of new stuff being made after that. So
Right.
everybody is going to be like gravitating back to whatever's left,
Mhm.
Well, and it's part of the story. It's worked
Exactly.
into
Yeah.
the story. It's not placed there just to be edgy and
Yeah.
Right.
contemporary
We're not closing out the episode on a song that was just on the radio yesterday or whatever. I know I
Ooh.
worked on a show called Defiance, and they did that where at the end of the episode they took us out of the episode on a song that you were familiar with. But what I liked about it was that it was rewritten in a way that it used instruments that you were familiar with from the soundtrack. And we had a language specialist who came in and created several different languages that the aliens in the show spoke,
Oh yeah.
and the songs were often
Wow.
sung in that language.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, exactly. I
Yum.
mean, I think we had a Nirvana song that was sung in a different language,
That's cool.
or in a made up alien language, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Kind of like the
So-
Klingon, you haven't heard Shakespeare instead
Yes.
of
Yeah, until you've heard it in the original
original
Klingon.
Klingon, right?
Exactly.
That's kind of, yeah.
Anyway,
Well, let's
Gosh.
real quick.
Interesting.
Mm.
It's
Let's,
a interesting. So what was was there a conclusion that just
Yeah.
said it shouldn't be done? Was
Well-
there a conclusion to the
Well, I was going to read the
article?
quote right here. Here
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. Brandon Braga weighs in, who says, writing Star Trek, and Rick, you can probably attest to this more than anybody, it's just a particular thing. The tone is kind of a timeless one. It's a bit more formal, but at the same time, you don't want it to be too stiff. You want it to not be tainted by contemporary idioms, but at the same time, it can't be free of them.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's true. They're like, you got to think of it as when you're watching Star Trek, it's got like a business feel, a professional.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
dignified.
Mhm.
It's sophisticated. It makes you feel smart for watching
Yeah.
it because they use big words. They use
But it's also not Shakespeare.
technobabble. Right. It's also
Yeah.
not Shakespeare.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting.
But so
Mhm.
there's a certain tone that you're and professionalism and sophistication that you're used to when you're watching Star Trek. Now, if
Mhm.
you're at Quark's bar and, Morn can't shut the fuck up, then sure, somebody might be like, shut the fuck up, Morn, right?
Mhm.
But if
You
Picard,
just swore, by the way.
there was an accident. If Picard is talking to Troy and Troy says, Captain, I sense you're angry. He's not gonna be like, no shit, motherfucker. Of course I'm angry. What do we pay you for? Or, he's just gonna say, well, yes, Counselor, I'm
Mhm.
upset to, whatever. And it totally takes you out of it. Now, the cussing doesn't bother me as much as long as it's, as long as it makes
Yeah.
sense as to
Selective.
because they wouldn't be doing it on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Exactly.
But they would be doing it at Quark's bar. And the colloquialisms don't fit for me
Right.
at all at any point because it doesn't feel like we're now in the 2300s. It feels
Yeah.
like we're in 2025 because that's suddenly we're very aware of when this was shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless
Oh,
you're Worf and you're saying, I will make it a threesome.
Yes.
Because then
Thank you. That's a great
Because
example.
he
Yes.
just
then-
means like there are three of them that are
Yeah.
going on this away
exactly,
mission.
but there's depth to that
Yeah.
line.
How
And
deep?
it's in the way that it is a threesome, right? Sorry. Shoot, now I just got distracted.
but it's
Sorry.
earned. You know what I mean? And
Threesome,
again,
of course,
it's
I mean,
it's an
okay.
Yeah.
earned moment. You know what I mean?
Yes.
There's a shared history for everybody who's watching it, and it makes sense, and it's funny, and
Mhm.
it's earned humor,
Right.
right? You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yes.
I just sometimes I just feel like we use it as a cheap gag to get some
Yeah.
laughs, and I'm like, it's like having Data say, "Oh shit," as the Enterprise is crashing, you
Hmm.
know.
Mhm.
It's a bit
But
of
and
a
then and the other
crutch.
point that I think it's also earned is in Lower Decks. That's hilarious when they
Yes.
bleep it
Yes.
because see, and we've talked about this before, like when there are certain things that give you the opportunity to think that you're clever, right? It's like, we know what's being said there, but it's funny because it's being bleeped. And
Yeah.
and you can make anything funny. Somebody could be not saying a naughty word at all, and when you bleep it, but your brain goes, "Oh," you start filling in the blanks, and that
Mhm.
adds to the humor of it, right?
Yeah.
And I love
Mm.
that for Lower Decks.
So would
So
you accept colloquialisms on with Lower Decks then? Like not
Mm.
obviously
Yes,
swear.
I'll tell
A
you
little
what.
bit
Yeah,
more,
because
yeah.
Would
it's a
you accept
parody.
it there?
It's a parody. It's supposed to take you out of it. It's not serious. It's not sophisticated. It's not trying to be. It's
Hmm.
funny. It's a comedy. So
Right.
comedy, almost anything goes as long as you're
Hmm.
not breaking canon and breaking the nerds' hearts
Right.
in the process. So yeah, cuss, fuck,
That's
fight,
funny.
do all the things because
Right.
it's a comedy. Yeah, it's a
But
joke.
the thing with Lower Decks 2 is even though it's a
There's a
comedy,
Lower
and
Decks
it's a
2 coming out?
parody. I wish. But it still
Why is it
stays I know.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
still
It's all right.
stays true
Good
to the
question.
heart of Star Trek. It still maintains that heart that Star Trek has.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
it tells the stories honestly. So when there is an F-bomb in Lower Decks, it's coming from an honest place. It's not just put in there to shock and
Right.
for shock
Yeah.
and awe, or to sensationalize anything. It's it's a part of the story.
Mhm.
Is it sloppy writing then to use colloquialism? Like,
Yes.
did someone like
I think-
that doesn't even what I'm saying? Not that
It's
they're
lazy.
trying to tat it in, but they're like just writing and oh, of course she would say this because
Right.
that's how I talk, and then they
Right.
realize
Exactly.
I think it's trying to reach a broader audience. I
Yeah.
don't think it's necessarily bad.
Yeah.
I think it's they have a goal of trying to reach a broader audience, and so they're reaching out more. So I get that. But you know what I was thinking is funny about this is that when you watch sci-fi from the 70s, you can tell it's sci-fi from the 70s because even their futuristic clothing looks like 70s
sure.
clothing. And their futuristic hairdos look like they got like the hair over there and and
Well,
it's all feathered. So Now, 50 years from now, they're going to be able to tell 2025
I
and
mean,
2020 TV, not just
Ooh,
from
absolutely.
the
look at
styles
Battlestar
and all that.
Galactica. Like
Yes.
the uniforms
Which
and everything
one?
are timeless. The new one. The new one. But their civilian clothes are so early 2000s. It's
Really? That's great.
wild.
I don't
It's
remember that.
wild. Yeah.
Yep.
It
Like
is.
it's
With the
really
frosted
interesting.
tips.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like in clothing form. Exactly. Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
But yeah,
Well,
it's
and
really
even when you
funny to
watch
see
Star Trek-
that though.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
that's odd. I mean, that's clearly why they changed. Like, obviously, if we're gonna go right into old man, get off my lawn type of stuff,
Yeah.
that's why they changed. And don't I'm gonna go on record saying that it doesn't bother me.
Oh,
And
meaning, yeah,
I think
no.
it makes it look
To be
great.
clear, yeah.
That's why they changed the look of Discovery to the way it was, and
Mhm.
not just created the old sets over again.
Yeah.
Because it was accessible
Yeah.
for younger people.
Totally.
You know, I remember watching it with my daughter, and she looked up at me and she said, "Dad, this is my generation's Star Trek." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my God." First, oh my God, I made it. I won. But
Yeah.
also, she was right. It was her,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm okay with it, because it's that generation Star Trek.
Yeah.
That, like, Discovery is definitely that generation Star Trek.
Hmm. Yeah. You're right about that
So
for sure.
I was okay with the colloquialisms throughout Discovery if it was used. I don't even, quite frankly, I didn't even remember because it
Yeah.
didn't bring me out. But as for the technology, as for the visual effects of Discovery, it absolutely didn't bother me, and I actually applauded it because it was
Mhm.
not, and they're accessing a new audience.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching that clip. We go live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern with all the latest Star Trek news on the virtual TrekCon channel.